Welcome to the Bulletin, where we once again discuss issues that is important to you and maybe more important in Bethel. The Bethel, Mzanoni and the part of Mbalenhle has been plagued with electricity problems, but especially Bethel and Mzanoni, where the infrastructure is falling apart and there's also load shedding from Eskom, where we actually go over the notified maximum demand, and they don't want to fix that because we, as a municipality, owe Eskom such a large amount of money. Now, there is light at the end of the tunnel. Gert Sibande District Municipality has decided to come to the party, and I have with me Ciska Jordaan. She's a councillor in both the Govan Mbeki Municipality and the Gert Sibande District Municipality. She's also the Caucus Leader of the Democratic Alliance here in Govan Mbeki. And we're going to discuss a few issues on this particular issue we're going to discuss. Morning, Ciska.
Good morning.
And welcome here.
Thank you very much for having me.
You have done this before, so it's not so strange.
Not at all.
All right. Just in short, the Gert Sibande District Municipality took a decision which the municipality here in Govan Mbeki had to also approve. Without going to the points now, in a nutshell, what is the decision that they've taken? They want to get involved in Govan Mbeki's affairs.
Right, so the Govan Mbeki Municipality is having such a sort of damaged relationship with Eskom that the Gert Sibande District Municipality had decided to intervene because our own municipality isn't able to negotiate with Eskom anymore whatsoever, based on the large amount of finances that they are owing them. So the Gert Sibande District Municipality had decided that it will make itself available as the implementing agent for electricity supply towards Bethel and Mzanoni.
This intervention is a major step from Gert Sibande District Municipality into Govan Mbeki. But you said something that I just want to stop for a moment. You said that Eskom don't want to deal with Govan Mbeki as well. But we know what the problem is there. We've had, and maybe you can elaborate on this, numerous things that agreements that just wasn't kept to.
Well, if I recall correctly, the last time the municipality actually had a written agreement with Eskom was somewhere close to July last year. So in the meantime, they've just been having what they call a gentleman's agreement about, the way that they are paying Eskom. They've been to Eskom, almost once a week or once every 2 weeks just to negotiate their payments for that week or for that month, so Eskom doesn't continuously threaten to cut the municipality off. So Eskom is really, actually completely over the point of negotiating unless they receive payments that they demand from the municipality.
I remember that a year or two ago, when this whole problem really got into such a big mess, that the bulletins reported on the mayor making an agreement, knowing full well that the agreement will not be kept. That was one of the first agreements. So there's where the problem started already, that it didn't go on from there, and which she actually admitted to in council, if my memory serves me right. Okay, so now we've had the agreement. Everything is coming to a point where Gert Sibande is now being involved, but it's not as straightforward as that. What is the next step that will happen now? We passed, actually a little bit past what should have happened, but the agreements that from the 1st of July, Gert Sibande will be involved. So is everything fine now? Are we now no more problems with Eskom? Or what is the next step, do you think?
No, actually there's a number of things that need to happen for this project to actually start bearing any fruitful, results for the residents of Bethel and Mzanoni. So firstly, the Gert Sibande District will be appointing a service provider that is going to implement a master plan that was compiled by SASOL, which is basically a report on the status of infrastructure and electricity problems that's arising in Bethel. So they're going to have to focus on illegal connections and dealing with that, making use of the bylaw enforcement of the municipality, which we know is not really as capacitated as what would have been ideal. Secondly, improving infrastructure in Bethel and Mzanoni in general, based on the recommendations that were given by SASOL. And then in addition to that, the municipality is also required to raise a bridging finance amount of 30 million rand that's going to be used to negotiate with Eskom. And the Gert Sibande District Municipality is going to then negotiate with that 30 million on behalf of Govan Mbeki, since they are considered, if you will, as more credit-worthy than what our municipality is towards Eskom. So, lastly, yes.
Sorry for interrupting, but we don't know if that 30 million has been raised yet.
No, there isn't a way to confirm that yet. As a DA, we've submitted a question to the Executive Mayor on the 7th of July, which ties in with what I was going to say next. From the date of acceptance or implementation of this resolution, which would have been the 1st of July, after both municipalities had adopted it, within 7 days from that date, the Gert Sibande District Municipality would have signed a service level agreement with the Govan Mbeki Municipality. So by now we should have been done with that step. We've requested clarity on a number of these steps that I've described now from the Executive Mayor, and we expect a response within the next 7 days, as the standing orders of the council stipulates. So only then we'll be able to tell, is it going to be from the 1st of July, all issues are sorted, but all indications are showing otherwise.
But there's a 12 million rand also made available, 10 million, I think, I'm not sure how it's broken up, and a 2 million, that makes a 12 million that is specifically earmarked for the infrastructure in Bethel. That also needs to come into play and to upgrade some of the infrastructure. That comes out of that 12 million rand as well.
Yes, I think it was upon the approval of both municipalities' budgets. The district municipality had actually sort of donated 2 million rand to the Govan Mbeki Municipality, and Govan Mbeki had also set aside 10 million in their own budget to resolve this issue of electrical infrastructure. So that's also going to have to be used towards the master plan that I've mentioned earlier that would improve the infrastructure in Bethel and Mzanoni in general.
Now, one of the reasons that we're having this discussion as well is because there's a WhatsApp doing rounds, especially in Bethel, saying that Govan Mbeki Municipality has now already started with the payments towards Gert Sibande District Municipality. And by the end of July, all the problems will be sorted. Now, our discussion up to now shows clearly that that is not really the case. We don't even know when they will start with the payment towards Gert Sibande, because I know there's some ring fencing. We'll talk about the ring fencing just now. And we don't know when the 30 million is or will be paid. And then only will the negotiations take place from Gert Sibande District. So there's no ways that we can actually for sure say that yes, payments are there, and by the end of this month, which is July, everything will be sorted.
Yes, well, we need to remember that the electricity infrastructure in Bethel and Mzanoni is completely, on the brink of collapse. So the master plan that I was referring to, the aim of the Gert Sibande District Municipality is to implement that plan within the, over the next 3 months. So that's, clearly an indication that by the end of this month, it's not going to be magically all the infrastructure are now, 100%. And then in addition to that, there's also the issue of negotiating with Eskom. There isn't any indication what the response from Eskom is going to be, even though we wish to believe that the Gert Sibande District Municipality is in a much better position to negotiate with Eskom. Yeah. We don't know, are they going to improve the notified maximum demand overnight? And if they do that, what are the implications going to be on the infrastructure, which is completely overloaded?
You see, if I may say this to Bethel residents, it's a problem that will not be solved like this. It's a problem and it's a process that needs to take place. So maybe what we can do is maybe for now say to residents, especially in Bethel and Mzanoni, hang in there. It's not going to be solved overnight. It's going to come, it's going to be right at some stage, but it's not going to come right in the next week or so. And that is one of our big problems. When I say next week, let's not be as quick as that. Let's say by the end of July, it's not going to be magically improved. There's processes that needs to be done first. Okay, then the other thing is we spoke about ring fencing. Now, I know that you have been trying for a long time, and you and your caucus for a long time, trying to get the ring fencing implemented. And now it's been approved that we ring fence, if I may, I've got the council resolutions here. We did say something about that the electric affairs of Bethel and Mzanoni be ring fenced for Gert Sibande District Municipality to appoint a service provider at the risk to inject, at their risk, this is important, that it's at their risk, it's not for the risk of Govan Mbeki Municipality, to inject capital funding and turn around the electrical business. Now, the first one is I want to ask you is, how long have you been trying to do this? And then secondly, do you think they're going to keep to ring fencing? Or do you think, given the history of Govan Mbeki Municipality, what can we as residents expect with the ring fencing? Is it going to work or is it not going to work?
Well, to respond to your first question, we know that the debt towards Eskom has been an issue since 2011. Even in the previous term of our council, there's been a motion by the DA towards the council to start ring fencing electricity payments from the entire Govan Mbeki and pay that straight into Eskom's account. This was never accepted. It's continuously overruled by the ANC majority. In 2018, there was actually a directive from the MEC COGTA in the provincial legislature to local municipalities who are owing Eskom that they should start ring fencing their electricity payments and pay those funds straight into Eskom's account. At that stage, I personally actually written a question to the executive mayor asking whether our municipality had done this, and officials within the finance department had informed me that they were not aware of this directive from the MEC of COGTA. So, it's been quite a long time coming that the DA has been asking for ring fencing of electricity funds so that we can start improving on this Eskom debt, which by now amounts to close to 1.9 billion rands. And 2 years ago, it was a completely different story. Then with regards to whether the municipality is going to implement it, I think in terms of Bethel and Mzanoni and this resolution that has been taken by the district, they are going to be forced to ring fence specifically Bethel and Mzanoni's payments and pay that straight into Eskom's account. Especially since the Gert Sibande District will be managing that. And they would also be appointing a service provider to do that on their behalf. So it's not like the district is going to pay it into a separate account and then pay it to Eskom. They're actually going to appoint a contractor that's going to manage the electricity distribution and the finances in terms of that of Bethel and Mzanoni.
And this contractor is not going to be paid by residents of Bethel and so on. This is something that comes from the Gert Sibande District. But Ciska, there's another problem that arose with this finances. I remember in 2011, we owed, as Govan Mbeki Municipality, owed Eskom around about 100 million. In July, the 6th of July, 2018, we wrote an article in the Bulletin where James Masangu, he was the member of the provincial legislator and the spokesperson on Cocta at the time for the province. He wrote in a statement that we owe Eskom from Govan Mbeki's side 524 million. So that took us 7 years to grow the debt of Eskom from 100 million to 524 million. It took us another 2 years to get to 1.9 billion. And I want to say that again, because maybe the masks don't work so well. 1.9 billion with a B, billion. That means that in the next 2 years after July, and if you, it's quite significant that we're sitting in the 9th of July, I think today. It's exactly 2 years after the fact that we published that article, and we've grown by 1.4 billion rand in the 2 years. It's a 700 million rand growth per year. What do you think contributed to that? It's actually astronomical growth.
Yeah, it's quite shocking actually if you describe it in that way. You know, we continuously speak about so many millions that the municipality is owing Eskom, and sometimes I think we become desensitized towards the you know, amount that it actually, you know, accumulates to. But, you know, I think there's a number of factors that contributed to that. Firstly, I mean, there's a total political unwillingness, I mean, if you can even date it back to 2011, to deal with this issue of Eskom debt. There's been, you know, a lot of allegations about corruption and maladministration in our municipality, including some investigations from the Premier's office. I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. In addition to that, you know, the ANC-led municipality or the council wouldn't, you know, implement any kind of recommendation or proposals coming from the DA or any other opposition party for that matter, that would actually improve the financial situation of the municipality. Furthermore, you know, there was a stage at which the municipality was switching over from one financial system to another and then back to another and so on. I think residents will recall there was a massive problem with the accounts at the same time in 2018.
Court case also, and they still got nothing out of the court case.
Yes, and I mean at that time the municipality just didn't have any idea of what was going on with its finances, so that grew the Eskom debt. And you know, in addition to that, I also think that the discontinuity with which we switched over from one municipal manager to the next had a major impact on the way that this municipality has been functioning. Since 2016, we didn't have a permanent municipal manager. I think it was until 2019, actually, when the current municipal manager was appointed. And if you think about it, if there has been a municipal manager once every 3 months, a new guy, there's no accountability whatsoever. There should be, but there isn't, because they just keep switching around.
The CFO also changed in that time.
The CFO as well, a number of senior managers changed. Which just, you know, further actually demonstrates the unwillingness of the ANC to, you know, firstly take any kind of good advice on governance from another political party, and then secondly just to, you know, deal honestly and transparently with the municipality's finances.
Okay, so there you have it. We have a problem in the municipality. We have a possible solution for the problem in Bethel and Mzanoni, which we hope will come forward. We will bring you some more news on this as we go along, and we'll try and update you. But at this stage, it's not a solution that by the end of July everything will be sorted out, as we've just discussed. We hopefully that we'll make good inroads by the end of July.
Yes. Yeah.
But don't expect at the end of July everything will be fine. Just like that. It's going to take a little while to get those things done. And we'll also bring you some more news on the finances at some later stage as well. I think we've touched on a few things that we need to investigate a little further, Ciska. And thank you for coming to the Bulletin. You know, we try and bring you the news when it's fresh. and relevant to everybody, and this is very relevant to the people in Bethel and Mzanoni specifically.
Absolutely.
They are struggling. They've had some riots a while ago, burning tires and trucks even, and a few other things. So let us hope we don't escalate into that again. And let's hope there's an answer. Thank you for watching the Bulletin.